Okay, everybody, I'm going to be introducing our trainer. My name is Kathleen Colby. I'm Director of Training Services for CASIC, and I'm also on the Health and Healing Committee. And I have the privilege of introducing Davina. Davina Moss-King. Dr. Davina Moss-King is a certified rehabilitation counselor and national certified counselor. Dr. King has 25 plus years of counseling experience in the addictions field, focusing on women's health and opioid use disorders. She is an adjunct professor in the Department of Counseling at Human Services at Canisius College, and she is the owner and president of Positive Directions and Associates Incorporated, a company that focuses on treatment, counseling, and aftercare for pregnant women with an opioid addiction. Her most recent book, Positive Direction Model, Opioid Use in Pregnancy, she does have the book for sale. It's for $13, which includes tax. And I read it, it's excellent. So, I would also like to extend a special thank you at this time to Pastor Lee Croft Clark and the faith-based community for offering financial support to bring Dr. Moss-King here to present for us today. And as our partner in Hope and Healing for Chicago, we feel blessed and encouraged to continue our efforts to work towards the solution. So, Dr. Moss-King.
As Kathy had mentioned to you earlier, I have lots of experience with women and addictions. But the one piece that I really learned is about lifestyle changes when working with the women that I do with Positive Direction and Associates. My website is pdawny.com, just in case you're looking for contact information for me. Now that I know everyone has iPhones and Androids, no one takes my cards anymore. They're always, let me put this in my phone, so I just give you the website to make it easier. So today we're going to be talking for a brief time about lifestyle changes, and this training is actually 3 hours that we sponsored through KSAC. So what I've done is compressed as much as I could for 40 minutes, and then we're going to leave 5 minutes for questions so that I can give you some great information as we go along. Before we get started, I just want to find out from 1 or 2 people, what are your objectives for coming to this training this afternoon? What were you hoping to learn? You don't know. No problem. Yes?
I'd like to learn some things that I can share with clients and minor juveniles about how to make some positive changes for themselves to increase their at-risk factors.
That's perfect. So that leads us to our objectives for our course for today. What we're going to be trying really hard to do is we're going to identify and understand the lifestyle changes, and that relates to addiction. And you all know that with addiction comes with a variety of things that happen. Most people don't wake up every morning and say, by the way, I think I would like to be addicted to opioids, methamphetamines, marijuana, alcohol, cocaine. It usually slips up upon them because of something going on with their style of living, and we're going to go through that. Also, we're going to look at some positive and negatives for lifestyles that I think you should really be aware of. Thirdly, we're going to identify what are the stress-related factors that are going to cause some lifestyle changes, and also that stress impedes on a person actually having recovery. So I wanted to make sure that you understood that majority of the time when people relapse or fall off the wagon or decide to take a step back into their old world, it's usually not because they wanted to, something pushed them to that point, and usually it is stress. So we're going to discuss a little bit more about that. For the definition of lifestyle, it's a way or a style of living that reflects the attitudes and values of a person. What do you think a value is? You can talk back to me because I love my audience to kind of participate. What do you think a value is?
I actually made one of my groups define this for me.
Yes, tell me, what did you tell them?
No, I didn't define it. I made them define it.
Okay.
In one of the groups for actually the addictions, they were like something you hold close, like something that guides you in your life.
Values are taught when you're small. Values are taught from the time you come out of the womb, believe it or not. When children are sitting in the high chair and they're just staring at you, they're watching what you're doing, and they are creating their own value system, but it's related to you as their caregiver. As they get older, now they have your values as the parent, values of a caregiver, but now we have the teachers that are involved. So now we have the value and work ethic and all those other pieces come through. But it holds very dear to them. After addiction settles in, usually those values go away very slowly, and then the value and priority of having their drug of choice becomes most endeared to them, which is when we see most of our participants at their lowest point, which can be painful sometimes for us to watch, but I wanted to discuss that with you. Next, we have to realize that there's a habit that forms. Many people back in the day, in the 70s, tell you, I have a habit, which means they're in addiction. They're deep into addiction. You can come in. No problem. You're deep into addiction, but you have a habit, which means that you do this same type of behavior every day, every 2 hours, every 4 hours, however it may be. It's something that is normal, and it's become part of the left arm. Third, activities, behavior, mannerism, and how you cope with various situations makes a big difference. Some individuals' style of living is as follows. When they are very stressed, when they're trying to cope with the death, with the loss, with something that's very dear to them, they use their drug of choice to help them through it. Many other individuals will text their friends, call, write letters, figure out who on earth should I talk to regarding this situation. Some of our patients have found restitute in using their drug of choice. So it becomes a coping mechanism. Now that turns into their style of living, and we're asking our patients to make that change within a matter of minutes after they're entered into your rehab facility or outpatient. The next piece that we're going to go through is more definition. You're going to look at the way in which it now guides a person's life, how they are actually moving through their day with their style of living, which could include prostitution, stealing, could include just basically using at the same time every day. But it is what motivates them to move forward in their life. Many years ago when I worked at Brighton Hospitals, I had a patient who explained to me he couldn't get out of bed, move around, do anything, make a cup of coffee until he took care of his habit. So therefore it became the way he coped with getting up in the morning. Some of us, if you want to bring it into a real situation for real time, you go to Tim Hortons, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, have a cigarette, you name it. Go get your sandwich at Mickey D's, your hash brown, 2 for $2, but that's, and once you get it, inside the car, you're like, oh. You get out of the car, and you're ready for the day. Your colleagues would never know that 2 hours before that, you were just the Grinch that stole Christmas. So we want to really realize and put it into real time for ourselves so that we can kind of have a better relationship with what our patients go through. Also, the style of living goes into a personal interaction. How this individual reacts with other individuals, how they talk to other people, how they talk to you as their clinicians, their family members, their friends. Their style of living will go into what we may say in case notes, manipulation. That's a style of living. That's how we are actually being personable regarding various things. Instant gratification is how you're actually having some type of personal interaction. So just wanted to bring those things to you so it makes a little bit more sense. Also, we want to look at the customs that are influenced by a lifelong process of socialization. Ooh, is that long, right? But socialization comes into many different ways. How an individual lives at home, how they live at work are two different people. How my individuals that I've worked with, my ladies, are at work, at home, and in their pharmaceutical world. 3 different worlds, 3 different personalities. It becomes part of their socialization, so then we realize that, boy, are we having some type of styles of living. Use of substance is part of that socialization, so therefore you have parties, you have individuals that look very much forward to happy hour. How many people do you know that were not part of addiction many years ago, but now might be because every Friday they look forward to happy hour. Then they look forward to Monday night football. Then they look forward to 5-cent wings. Then they look forward to Thursday, it's ladies' night. Did I leave the day of the week out? Terrible Tuesday, right? Temper Tuesday. I got some temperament going on here because Monday Night Football didn't give me what I wanted. other things that may be going on in the stall, which we don't talk about. But those things may happen, so we want to be aware of that socialization piece. That makes a big difference for your clients. Now that we looked at all the unhealthy things, let's try to move forward to what can we do in groups with our patients at our facilities, or what you're doing in your private practice or at your homes. What does it mean to have a healthy style of living? There's various different ways, but these are the 4 that kind of stick out in my mind. Exercising. How many patients do you have that tell you, I don't like exercising? Right? But do you say to them, do you walk to the corner store? Do you walk in the mall? Well, if I walk in the mall, think of boosting dental relapse trigger. Okay, let's walk outside. Let's figure out different things we can do. It doesn't mean go to a gym, because the majority of our patients are just starting out. Joining a gym can be kind of costly. But there is such a thing as going down in your basement, getting a jump rope at the $5 store and jump and roll. A lot of people will say, oh, little kids do that. Right, that's what I want you to go back to. I want you to go back to childhood when you were very happy, giggly, and goofy. That's what actually helps you to move a little bit. So some type of exercise that doesn't include costly things is important. Career moves, vocational moves, trying to figure out what did you want to be when you grew up. I used to do a vocational group many moons ago. What I would tell my patients is I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about when you were 5 and 6 years old and people would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? And you really want to question. But the kids usually say, policeman, fireman. And when they would say those major pieces, how do they look? Extremely proud. Even if they didn't know what that meant, but they were proud to say it. You want to take your patients back to that time when they were really proud to say what they wanted to do. It was destroyed by addiction, but it can be rekindled by doing something about it. So to give you an example, I have a wonderful success story to share with you this afternoon. Have a patient from many moons ago. I had her, my goodness, I've been doing this for 25 years. I had her, she was one of my first patients 22 years ago. She wanted to be a nurse when she was a kid, but addiction kind of got in the way, all these other pieces happened. Now, moving forward, 20 years into my career, I get her as a patient. She tells me, oh, do you remember I told you that story, I wanted to be a nurse? I said, yes, what about it? She said, I think I want to do it. I said, okay, let's try. She tried CNA, finished. Now, she said, I think I'm going to try the LPN program at BOCES. Great, let's do it. Finished. Then she said, I think I'm going to try nursing program. Perfect. Finished. Bachelor's degree. She graduated last Saturday with her PA degree. Now, this is a girl who people threw away. But I said to her many moons ago when I had her, and I was just fresh in the field, so you know you're real happy, real green, right here. Just want to say to the world, everything's great. So I'm like, But she took that energy that no one had the time to destroy me about, and she really held it close. So now she's a PA. And I can't wait to see what happens further down in her life, because I think she's going to be very successful, because she's proved herself. So career actually can make a difference. Success comes into when you find in the literature, they'll tell you if an individual is working a job, it becomes part of their pride. Now selling drugs is less of a value, but earning money is more of a value, because now I can actually see it. I can see it grow. Makes a big difference. So I want you to look at careers as part of something, not to crush someone or burst the bubble for them. Family is important. How many patients do you have where their family member said, we're done, you're done, had enough, don't knock on my door at 2 a.m., don't call me at 4 a.m., we're done. Okay. Don't have your patient keep scrapping up a hill that may not ever have any grip to it. Not healthy. There's other types of families. You have Narcotics Anonymous. You have other people that they bonded together in treatment, in recovery. And once they get their self-efficacy up for that, the regular family, they'll kind of come around. They'll still have their kind of, skeptical thoughts. but your patient is holding on to something that's giving them fulfillment and heart fulfillment. So what I want you to realize is part of style of living and style changes is you don't have to go back and try to rekindle that stuff. Even though our 12 steps tell us we need to make amends, yes you do. But you need to not make that amend to the point where you're scraping and then you're hurting your heart, which leads them back to relapsing. Yes, ma'am?
I learned in my recovery that sometimes amends is just making a lifestyle change.
Got that right.
You know?
Yes, make a huge lifestyle change. Lastly, the individual free time. How many individuals do you work with that may say, or individuals that have been in recovery may say very clearly, free time is really tough. It can be very difficult. So what do we do in our own free time? You can shout out to me some things that you may do in your free time that makes you feel very happy and good.
Walk my dog.
Walk your dog, reading,
Taking pictures.
taking pictures. Somebody said something over here. Cooking. Yeah, I like
Gardening, quilting.
So all of these things are called, what are they called? A little louder.
Hobbies.
Yes, they're called hobbies. What you want is for your patient to realize that we don't want to actually get just something to do in our free time. We want to create a hobby. A hobby is something that you enjoy, gives you fulfillment, makes you feel loved, makes you want to give forth love to others. So when you cook, I think you had said cook, you want to cook a masterpiece where you can share. You may take this to work, you may take it to other people, you may do other things. It makes a big difference for you. So that's what you would like them to create. Some of our patients may say, I have no clue what on earth to do for my hobby. Well, there's various groups that they can join. When I worked in Genesee County, I had my ladies join a knitting group for the main purpose of just knitting a blanket for their baby. But then it turned into be something more because they realized I can spend less money on yarn and make a really big scarf that's beautiful, and I can make one for each person at Christmas time. Saves me money, but lets me get part of myself. Boy, does that make an individual feel really good. So those are some 4 pieces that I thought I wanted to kind of bring forth to change your mind a little bit. Lifestyle disease. Have you ever heard of that before? No? There's some research on it, and it says that it's a disease that you are not born with, but is a result of high-risk factors. So when you're dealing with your treatment plans and you're trying to really help your patient and you're dealing with those 9 life areas that Oasis and I really work hard at, now you have to realize as part of the changes for lifestyle is that we have a disease we're dealing with. So we're not only dealing with the chronic disease of addiction, we're also dealing with the disease of a lifestyle, which sometimes is not addressed all the time in treatment. So we work on all these various plans and we're all set. It's nice in a great bow. You send your patient off with their certificate saying that they've completed. But then what happens when they are back into the world and their old environment is, I never worked on lifestyle changes. I never had an idea as to what went on. So that thought, we need to actually plant that seed when you're doing your treatment planning. And it's part of the disease core that I want you to kind of look at when you get them in. The other pieces that we're going to actually go through is some lifestyle that in addiction that may be something that you can kind of work with and change into a career. First is prostitution. How can you change prostitution into a positive career? Sales. Yep, sales. Absolutely. That's right, that's right. What else?
Customer service.
Yes.
Satisfaction.
Yes. Perfect. So you got it. So you're giggling, right? Right? But check this out. When I did the vocational class, I did a vocational class just for women that were workers. And we changed the word prostitution to working. That's hard work. And we thought about what are the things that you do every day, all day, for so many hours a day that we can turn into a job. Receptionist. Great phone contact, great memory. Accountants, gotta manage your money. Marketing, you know how to market yourself. You know where to stand, who to stand to get what you need for the day. You understand about planning because you know how much you need for the day in order to fulfill your requirements for whomever and for yourself. So therefore, change some of those pieces where people really have negative thoughts about, and say, we can work this. We're just going to get a longer skirt. It's true. So what you do is you take a day trip. You get a day trip to go to the mall to check out what things can we wear or use magazines. How are we going to do our makeup now that's a little bit different? We can't wear eyeshadow with sparkles, but we can wear some type of eyeshadow that's going to bring out what we can, but in a natural way. So kind of move that around to make that lifestyle change to something a bit more positive. Pharmaceutical business, drug dealing. What are the characteristics of the pharmaceutical business or a drug dealer that you may have someone in treatment that is in drug court, may not abuse, but is in your treatment facility because of that? What on earth can we think about? What are those characteristics? God bless you.
Communication skills.
Yes.
Relationship building.
Yes.
Networking.
Yes. Negotiating.
Accountable.
Inventory management.
So now, if we do inventory management, right, where can we go for that type of job?
Oh, restaurants. I don't want to say retail because it's so dangerous, but retail.
You gotta do it. So now you can even have an individual work in a bookstore, right? Say you need an individual that would love to get their high school equivalency diploma, and they come from that lifestyle. So now let's see if we can get something into the bookstore where they are supposed to do inventory. That's part of their functional resume. That's part of a style of life change. So you want to look at that. The last one that I wanted to kind of go through with you is stealing to fulfill a habit. What do individuals need to know to do to be thieves?
Lay out the land.
Opportunity, lay out the land,
Planning.
observing. What type?
Patience.
Yes, yes. So can you think of a career for your patient who may come in with that background?
Security.
Yes. The only thing we have to realize with security is hopefully there's no felonies involved. But if there isn't,
Because they know.
perfect. That is where most of my patients sometimes end if they don't have felonies. And I have one patient that I had 20 years ago who's now, he is like a supervisor for one of the security places that we have in Buffalo. Why? He is good. He's a great trainer. He's a great teacher. Because the majority of time in the pharmaceutical world, you have individuals that teach others. So now you have a person who's actually able to be a teacher. So just give you a little bit of outside the box thinking for that. Stealing to fulfill a habit is one, and then we had engaging in self-unhealthy choices. Now that could be using to the point where you're on a binge. Now we need to take all of those skills that you have with the top three and now turn it into a plan for your patient. Plan how I'm not going to do unhealthy things and why, and how am I going to make this different the next time. So you want to take all those positive characteristics that we can turn around, but now turn it into a plan for a healthy living. Make sense? Awesome. Next, you have this wonderful piece here that if you get an opportunity, I can email it to Kathy also if you need it. But it is a nice little part that I found from Marlette, 1989, where he talks about lifestyle things. So we talk about difficult situations. Difficult situations could be anything that you cannot cope with. So when you're asking your patient, what's difficult for you? Another way to turn it around is, what do you have difficulty coping with? What's a struggle? Now we look at what are the negative thoughts that are involved, what is the emotional impact that are involved, what are the physical sensations, and what is the unhealthy behaviors. Before an individual decides to relapse, you want to ask them one question. What do you feel physically? Not after you use. Way before you use. Do you feel churning in the stomach? Do you feel sweaty palms? Do you feel anxiety? Do you feel lightheaded? All of these pieces go into the physical part. Physical then turns into emotional. Emotional turns into weakness. Weakness turns into making that step into the relapse. It's not just picking up the drug. That's the icing on the cake. It's all the ingredients that come in before that you want to look at as a style of living. And this piece here really helps you. So sometimes if you get an opportunity after I email it over, if you want it, I'll be more than happy to give it. You can actually make it a little larger, laminate it, and use one of those markers that you can erase, and have your patient actually write on each section to decide which one is which. Okay? So that's just something I wanted to throw out to you, which might be helpful when you're doing one-on-ones. Lastly, here is something about high-risk parts. Can you see that very well to a point? Okay, so what you have is a high-risk situation up at the top, right, going across. You're going to have effective coping response. Then you're going to have that self-esteem that's going to come up. And then you're going to have the decrease of relapse. So the top is what we have ideal, that you really want, because self-confidence comes in. Now let's look at the very bottom, when you have ineffective coping responses or ineffective coping skills. The one piece that I learned many years ago, as well as currently with my pregnant moms, I give them a very small notebook that they need to write down high-risk situations and what they could do to resolve that high-risk situation. Now, mind you, they're not going to take it out of their pocket. So even on page 10, I remember I did that. I remember she wrote that for me. But it is a little notebook that they carry with themselves as a reminder that we worked on this. Sometimes just having it close to the heart is actually helpful for them. So you want to start looking at some coping responses. And then what you'll find is if you don't have a proper coping response, you'll have low self-confidence to actually fulfill to not have a problem. So you want to make sure you understand that for them. Then it goes into lapsing. And lapsing could be just kind of taking a sip here or there, or a dip or dab, or someone tells you try this and to make you feel better for a minute, and then you realize that the drug or the alcohol is now overtaking the person's life. And then you have the increase of relapse. So the top would be your prevention. The bottom is what you look at for relapse for your patient when they come in. When you have a style of living or a style change, you want to focus on confidence. Majority of the time, your patients that have really difficulties with making that change, with that recovery process, and it's a step-by-step piece every day, every minute can change. 1/8 of a second can change a person's life. But if you're working with them on that style of living, it can make a big difference. So the top is what I wanted you to really focus on and concentrate. We want to balance between the shoulds and the wants. What should you do? What do you want to do? Many people have that desire to use. That sometimes never goes away. That desire is called a craving. Some cravings come and they go. The same craving you may have for chocolate, the same craving you may have for a hamburger, a big hamburger with tons of mushrooms and cheese and bacon, and it's really good. You may crave that. Some of our patients may have that same piece. So you really want to identify and make sure that they understand that those desires and wants are related to craving. But now you have to look at should. What should I do? What should make a difference? So then you have a decisional balance as to, I should do this. If I should do it, how is it going to make a positive effect on my life? And how am I going to raise my self-efficacy or self-confidence or lower it? So it's something for you to think about. To work on is the wants equal enjoyable activities. I want to use, but now 3 weeks ago, you as my counselor told me about a hobby. So I may want to use, but this hobby of cooking, of knitting, of doing all these other things made me feel really loved and enjoyable. So now I need to turn that craving and desire into needing to do that hobby. I may need to do it even more, or I may need to just pick it up and start to do that hobby at that particular time. For the women that I have that start a knitting group, I tell them take your knitting with you everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you get a little bag, you get a little piece of put the knit in there and make sure you have it. Why? My patient can get on the metro bus, bump into someone that is negative from many moons ago. When that happens, knit. Yeah. Make a hat, knit. Big difference. They may like to read. I think you had said reading, or someone over here said reading before. Book with you all the time. 2 books if you have to. One that's funny and one that's kind of make you sad. Whichever way works well, depending on the mood. So you want to make sure that that want, desire, craving equals enjoyable activity. So we kind of have to mesh them together if you can. Makes a big difference. Negative emotional states create high-risk situations. When you have a negative emotional state, what does that mean? What does it mean to have a negative emotional state?
You're not grounded.
Yeah, my chi is, right? Or it also means that something happened 10 minutes ago that I just can't let go because I didn't get the last word. I'm not happy about that. Because I didn't get the last word, I'm miserable. So now it affects everything else. So what we have to also help our patients is your emotional state equals your confidence, equals whether you stay clean and sober, equals your lifestyle. So positive emotional state of learning to do mindfulness at the time. If someone really wrecked my day, or I think it wrecked my day, and I tell my patients all the time, it didn't wreck your day, it wrecked 8 seconds of your day. You still have 23 more hours left to go, honey, and you're focused on that. And then you're going to spend 10 more minutes and 10 more hours going from office to office to office to office to office to person to person to text to text to text to Twitter to Facebook, and you've accomplished nothing for the day. So we try to really help our patients to realize that that 1 second, now I need to bring myself back to my chi. Mindfulness training is a big difference that you could actually start to do with your patient. How am I doing on time, Miss Kathy?
Well, it depends.
Okay. Some self-management. Let's see. Some self-management that I want you to look at is time management and stress management. Those actually go together. That's why I have it back to back. Majority of the time people become stressed because they lack time management. So to give you a great example, I'm a terrible time manager in the morning. Awful. I have 2 children to get ready in the morning. And it just feels like 4 a.m. comes fast, and then 6:50 comes even faster because the first one on the clock. And by 6:48, I'm going, put your coat on! Get your coat on! And she's going, what do you mean? It's sunny outside. So what happens is, I actually had to write a list, and guess who helped me do it? My older daughter. The 9-year-old said, Mommy, you really need to make some blocks like you do at school. Okay. And she was right. What she meant was she has blocks of time, 45 minutes for her classes. So she's like, you need to time yourself as to when things should be done. I said, oh, I guess I'll learn from you. So this morning worked out really well. Luckily, I didn't have to work till this afternoon, so it worked out great. But it worked out well for both of them, wherein I actually was able to follow her little block of time. And I have to tell her I mentioned her in my talk today. Relaxation training, mindfulness training, really taking time to meditate and taking time to breathe. What do you do when you're very upset?
Breathing.
Yes. And then what happens, you're trying to get it out, and that's why most people start to cry, because you're trying to get it out, and the brain just doesn't work well with you, and all of a sudden tears start to flow. So I try to explain to talk on the exhale. It makes life a lot easier for you in the long run. So try to teach your patients that, and that gives them time to actually think through their issues that they may have. Just a couple others that I wanted to kind of bring to your attention is some early warning signs and cognitive distortions. You have the cognitive distortions when you have the emotional imbalance. Can't think straight. Makes things different just to kind of make it easier to follow through. Some positive addictions that we want to go into. Many of my patients, especially my male patients from years ago who really enjoyed exercise, became addicted to exercise. They would exercise all the time. If they didn't get an opportunity to exercise, they would be very upset. I would say that is actually not a bad thing. But we want to balance it out where you're not over-exercising, where you could hurt yourself, or you're not giving time to let your body recoup, or you're not giving time to family. So we really want to make sure that works. Yoga is also a nice positive addiction. Teaches with the breathing techniques, teaches to actually relax, because when you're going through relapse, actually the moment and the cycle with it comes into tenseness of the belly. Yoga helps to release that tension and actually brings back your chi. And how do we do this? We're going to increase the self-efficacy, which is the self-confidence. You actually are going to take the time to help them to read self-help books or their own self-help books to follow through. Deepak Chopra, does anybody know Deepak Chopra? Love him. Wonderful. Feel free to give out a couple things on what he does, and you'll find that your patients are very receptive to it. In the beginning, when I used to hand out Deepak Chopra, I'm like, I'm not sure how this is going to work. And he said, give me more. I really like that. I said, okay, that's perfect. You want to examine the activities that make you feel great. So your patient, you're going to ask them to examine any type of hobby or any type of activity that they've done throughout the course of their time and recovery and what made them feel very good, fulfilled, and most of all, loved. Because the majority of our patients that go through this addiction cycle feel unloved. And once you realize that feeling loved takes up a lot of your energy, but if you're able to give out some, you're able to get some back. So we really want to really push that piece about loving yourself. Once you love yourself, that self-destructive behavior will actually minimize itself and you'll be able to do better things. So try to keep that in mind as much as you can. I know sometimes it's hard though, when you have high caseloads and you have a lot of stuff happening. So to summarize for you, because I think I'm out of time, you want to help your patient learn self-control. You want to help them with some positive addictions that make a big difference. You want to look at the lifestyle definition and the disease of lifestyle. That makes a big difference for you. And with that self-control comes in management. If a person is able to manage themselves, they do have that self-control. And you say to them, well, how on earth am I supposed to manage myself? You manage your time, you manage your stress, you manage your environment, you manage who you are allowing to rent space in your head. All those things are manageable so that we're able to have our recovery piece. Do you have any questions or concerns that you wanted to bring forth now before your session ends?
That slide you had up there with the mind map,
Yes.
it looked like the brain of an addict.
Yes.
Because no matter where you go on that map, you end up somewhere else you didn't want to be.
Yes.
So when I saw it, it reminded me of kind of hair cycle that just keeps going and going and going. They feel that wave of craving comes.
Yes.
Crush them. They can't think about anything else, nothing else matters. They're sitting in your chair and you're using logic and they just can't see
Mine's
it.
not there.
It looks exactly like that.
Yep, and actually for the 3-hour training that I do lifestyle changes with KSAC that we've done, usually every other summer we've done it, we actually look at the brain of the addict. And we actually identify all these other pieces that go into craving. And we talk about the hormone that happens, that kind of explodes in the brain when we are having problems with stress, and when we're unable to control it, and how then it minimizes your opportunity to think things through and think things through well. So yes, and I just took that one slide out, but those 6 slides following are exactly what you're talking about. Because it is a 3-hour change, but I kind of condensed it for you. Yes, but you got it.
In the acute phase of addiction, you wouldn't be employing this, right? You would do it afterwards.
You can do it during.
During.
Yes.
What is your success rate for someone, I mean, you've been in this field for 25 years.
Sure.
So can you give me an annual picture of what your success rate is like? Just
Sure. For the women that I work with currently, the success rate goes up until about a year and a half, until those women start, when their baby gets a little older, is when they start to feel those cravings that are coming back. When I worked in inpatient addiction as well as outpatient addiction, when I had a person that sat across from my desk, and I knew they used or they were getting ready to go through that piece about using, all I'm doing is planting a seed. I'm not fixing anything. I'm just giving food for thought. But mind you, I never talked, I wrote it down. Here you go. There you are. This is what we talked about today. I'll summarize it for you just in a couple bullets and give it to you. That piece of paper is gonna wind up somewhere on the body. Eventually they're going to see it and read it. And 2 of my patients, one in Rochester, he's been clean now, I think 10 years. He should be celebrating 10 years soon. We didn't talk that day. I knew he was high. I totally knew. I felt my heart because I had seen him clean and sober, and he was always, great. And then I said, wow, the skin is a little gray today. Something is going on. So all I did was write down, this is what I want you to do: management of self, self-control, watch your environment. I only wrote those 3 things down, and he said, okay, Moss, I'll see you later. Put in his back pocket, and he was gone. But mind you, he tells me after I bumped into him at a conference, he saw that the day he was homeless, and he had to, take the clothes and try to get them washed. And someone said, I washed this piece of paper. It looked like it might be something important. He said, oh, it's for my counselor. By then he had sobered up, and he looked at that, and he still has the paper. So you're not going to fix anything. You're just going to plant a little seed. Somebody else is probably going to water it, and that's okay. But you just give that opportunity. You're opening up a window. That's the only thing you want to do at that point. And your success rate, our recidivism rate is really high, as we all know. We really try very hard to lower that as much as possible. But if we're able to save a person and they get a pen for even a month or 2 months, wow, that makes a big difference. Those 2 months turn into 2 years, 20 years, and you kind of move forward from there. Okay? Well, I thank you. Hope you have a wonderful time.